Hi, this is Beardcast number 7. I'm Matt Franks, co-founder of Bearded Theologians, and today we're going to talk about stuff. And what I mean by stuff is like literally physically stuff and stuff that we collect, stuff that we keep, and the necessity and need for stuff. It's kind of been a common topic for me lately because with the passing of my grandfather and my mother almost within a year of each other, we've had to go through a lot of stuff to see who wants things. And it's kind of made me really think about the stuff that we keep. And I know as clergy, that is, one of kind of the great benefits of being clergy is that you do move a lot. And so you can't really hoard a whole lot of stuff unless you want to pay, to haul it off. And so today we'll talk about the need for stuff and our kind of reflections on that. And so I'll turn it over to Zach at this time.
Yeah, like Matt said, we have a lot of stuff as people, and we like our stuff. And as clergy, we get the opportunity every couple of years to go through our stuff. And that's something that my wife and I are doing currently is talking about the stuff that we don't want anymore, that we don't need anymore. And sometimes that stuff means something to us, but we've been having real conversations about it. Do we really need to take this with us to the next town? And in thinking about that, it's not just our personal stuff. We talk about our emotional stuff that we have as well. Do we need to take this hurt with us? Do we need to take this joy with us? Is it going to be productive for us when we get to our next place, both in ministry and with our children and with us as husband and wife? And so kind of where we want to go today is, what stuff do you guys have? What stuff do you need to keep? What stuff do you need to grow? And what stuff do you need to let go of?
I think for me, having moved, this is my third appointment in the last actually like 8 years. And it's always hard to let go of some of the stuff that you're holding on to, whether it's hurt or joy or even like stuff that you've left behind and you've watched it grow. I know for my wife and I, we've taken great joy of what's happened in Calumet and their Wednesday night programming and how that has just exploded, and thinking about the foundation that we left there. But that's also been kind of painful too, because we see it happening there, and then we are in the midst of still trying to figure things out here, and that's always kind of hard when we look back at that stuff. And I think for me too, when we think about stuff, is that there are times where that stuff can be really helpful. We can remember a memory, or I know, like for me, a lot of the books I have back there are behind me are from seminary. And so like, I know if I need something, I know where it's at and I can reference it. And it's always good to have that. And but sometimes stuff can be hurtful. Last night, a good example of that, I hadn't really been on Facebook all day. I would look and see, when somebody would post something and it would pop up, or, I didn't really I like to look at the, what you posted on this day, the feature on the Facebook that they have now. And so I like to look through that every day. And I didn't look at it until last night when I got home. And one of the very first posts was a post kind of wishing my grandfather a happy birthday. And I hope he had a great birthday. And I'm so glad that he was able to be with my children. And then realizing that it was only a couple months later that we would lose him. And I found that was very hard. That was very heavy. It made things very heavy for me. And I think sometimes when we allow stuff to accumulate in our lives, whether it's the emotional baggage or the physical stuff, it's going to weigh us down so much that we're going to be not really good and vital people for the world. And so, one of the things I'm starting to do right now is kind of taking stock of my stuff and seeing what I need to let go of and what are some things that need to go. And I actually just reorganized my office. I know it doesn't look like it, but there's some reorganization things that have happened recently that have allowed me to get rid of some stuff, or to put some stuff in a place where it needed to be now.
And that's kind of where we are. We've been a whole lot like you and moved a whole bunch in the last 6 years. I think we're on our fourth move in 6 or 7 years, and with each move, we have less and less stuff, physical stuff that we bring with us, but also we have to have a real conversation of what do we want to take from the ministries and the churches that we're leaving, and what do we want to leave there. And in the last few moves that we've had really good moves where we left in a great place, where there was a great foundation. And there's been times where it's been hurtful, where it's been hard, and we know that we have to leave that behind to be fruitful in our new ministry, to be fruitful in our relationship, and that's okay. I mean, it's tough. It's like you said, social media is a great thing, and I love Time Hop. I love Facebook showing me past memories, and every now and then I'll have something that comes up that was great, and then sometime it takes a turn, like losing your grandfather, that realization of, oh man, it was there, and losing those types of things, and losing ministries, and losing people that were in our lives that were once huge influences, and it's what we do with that stuff. It's what we do with those memories, and how we let the good carry on and not let the bad weigh us down. So how do we do that? How do we move from that stuff in a good, healthy way?
I think the one of the ways that we can do it is we have, this is the time of spring cleaning. Usually towns or organizations or stuff do spring cleaning, and I think we don't do that enough with our lives, and we don't look at ourselves and kind of clean out some things that we don't need anymore, or discard things that we don't want anymore. The Bible has a really good word for that. It's called Sabbath, and when we take Sabbath from things, whether it's physical things or just emotional things, and taking time away and stepping back and kind of reflecting on that is very important for us. And I know, I don't know about you, Zach, but I know for me, I've not been in a church that has not had a couple of closets full of stuff that just needs to go away. And we're in the midst of conversation right now to looking at, is this stuff that we need to continue keeping? And if not, why are we keeping it? And what can we do with it to either pitch it or to move it in such a way that would be very helpful for us to have that space again. Because I think we might be able to make up enough space to be able to move a ministry that needs a little bit more space. And I think that's, I think when we get rid of that stuff, when we let go of it, it allows new things to occupy it. And then the question becomes that something that I'm sure we all have to reflect on, is this something, when we store something in, is it something that, working for it to be healthy versus actually like, the hurtful stuff. But we do also need the hurtful stuff because, the movie Inside Out is a good example of why we need pain and suffering, because it allows us to grow. It allows us to be better people. And that's something I've been harping on a lot lately in our local context, is that just because you follow Jesus doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect, and everything's going to be perfect and things are going to be nice and bright and shiny, because it's actually usually the complete opposite. And it's because of our faith that allows us to get through the stuff of life. And I think that that's something, as we figure out how do we navigate the stuff of life, we really need to be Christ-centered and Christ-focused, and ask ourselves, is this fruitful?
And that's the thing. You're right. Every church that I've been into sounds just like the ones there's always closets full of stuff. And what I found is that stuff is a reminder of the good old days, and we're hanging on to the good old days, so we can't get rid of that stuff, and yet it's weighing us down. It's not allowing us to have space for ministry. It's not allowing us to have space for growth, because what we remember is the good old days, and instead remembering that today can be those days, that we don't have to look back in the past to when it was and how it was, but today we have an opportunity to do something different. If we'll take what we learned, good, bad, right, and wrong from the past, and move it into today, and be fruitful with it today. And it does, you're right, it takes those hurtful times, it takes those joyous times to do that, because that's how we learn and grow. It's how we learn and grow as the church, and it's how we learn and grow as people. And so what is it? How do we take that stuff and make room for more, for new ministries, more stuff, things that are going to allow us to be fruitful, and like you say, grow and be productive be productive people, be vital churches, be connected with God on those levels.
And I think one of the cool lessons that I've learned, being in Oklahoma, I've been around a lot of farmers, and it's always cool how they talk about cleaning out their fields and getting them ready for the next season. And I think we always need to do that. I think that's something we need to do in a periodic sense, that we need to clear out ourselves, not only of the emotional baggage that we're having, and seek professional help if we really need it, but also, look at our physical stuff. If you've got more stuff than you know what to do with, then maybe you really should, if you've bought stuff and it's never come out of the package, that's a real issue that you really probably should address. And I know, like, one of the questions I've been asking lately myself is, when I buy a new book, what is this going to replace a book, or is this, do I already have this book? I mean, there's been several conversations where I'll call Ashley and say, hey, do I have this book? Because I want to make sure I don't buy this book if I already have it, and I think the more we can be responsible with handling our stuff, what you'll find is you can find health and you can find life the more you manage it, versus if you just let it go. Because if you just let it go, what you're going to find yourself with is a pile of junk, and it's going to be so hard to get rid of that junk because you have some emotional attachment to it, whether it's physical or emotional. And so periodically tending to yourself is, I think, something very important for you to do in your walk of life and in faith.
Yeah, I think that's what we want to do in closing, is just give you the opportunity to look at the stuff in your life. Look at the good old days. Look at the rough days that you've had, and how much of that is weighing you down. How much of your stuff, both physical and emotional, is holding you back from something that you can see today or do tomorrow. And so we want to give you the opportunity to have that conversation with us, with your friends and family. However, we'd love for you to post on this page of what your stuff is doing, how it is, and how you're going to move away from it and let some of it go and move forward. We also want to give you the opportunity to check out our store. We have really cool mugs and stickers and shirts and all kinds of stuff. We'd love for you to check that out. Anything that you buy helps us do this, helps us pay for websites and podcasts and get better at what we're doing. So know that anything that you spend is very appreciated and helps us do this a little bit better. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Zach, and we want to send you off and hope you have a blessed day and think about your stuff and how you can move forward.